Aloha and welcome to The Creative Life, a collaborative production between the American Creativity Association, Austin Global, and Think Tech Hawaii. I'm your host, Darlene Boyd, and our guest today is Janel Rodriquez. Janel and I will be discussing fentanyl and the loss of her teenage son, Noah, to fentanyl, and her consequential founding of the Forever 15 Project. The title of today's show is Fentanyl Tragedy, Forever 15 Project. Thank you, Janel, for being with us today. And this is a difficult show for both of us, and especially for you, but so much strength that you have, and we'll just move forward. Janel, you live in Buda, Texas, a family community, good schools, athletic activities, plenty of fellowship. Noah was an athlete, loved his family and friends, loved football, loved basketball, and probably loved much more than I'm aware of. And we'll learn more about Noah today. So with that, Janel, tell us your family story and tell us about Noah.
Hi, Darlene. Thank you for having me today. Noah wasn't unlike any teenager in today's world. Loved sports, video games, going to the beach, swimming, playing jokes, doing TikToks, anything a teenager would like to do. Um,
Our viewers are getting to see, as you're talking, they're getting to see some of the pictures of Noah, of which, as you described, just looks like a fully animated, energetic little guy as he progressed. And he was 15, and is that the reason that we're talking about Forever 15?
that's correct. Yes. I named it Forever 15 because he will always be 15.
Understandably. Um, the evening that you received the horrific phone call telling you what was going on, and ultimately that you had lost your son, are you able to tell us a little bit of those feelings and just what happened that night?
Yeah, I had I had been dealing with some postpartum anxiety. I was 2 weeks postpartum. Um, so I had just gotten into bed. Um, the rest of the family were asleep already, and it was midnight, and I received a phone call. Um, I had Noah's cell phone because he had gotten that privilege taken away, but I knew the number that was calling me was from the friend he was staying the night with. So I answered the phone and I just hear the most horrific scream. Um, and the parent of the friend said, I think Noah overdosed. Um, which I got up as quickly as I could. I had just had a C-section, my very first C-section. Um, and I just started yelling, no, no, as I'm walking back and forth, in my home. Um, my husband hears, he thinks I'm having an anxiety attack. He starts trying to calm me down. And then I just tell him, it's not me, it's Noah. So
How far away were you from where Noah was?
we were about 20 minutes away. Yes. So we couldn't take off, leave the house as fast as we wanted to because we do have three small children at home who were all asleep. And I was not going to take my 4-year-old to the scene. Noah was her best friend, and I was just not going to have her in that situation. So we I called my pastor's wife and she came over. But unfortunately, it took her a little while to get there, about 25 minutes. When we arrived at the scene, I expected to just run into that house and save my son. Like he just needs to know that his mom is there and he'll be okay. Well, I step out of the car and my mom approaches me because I was able to text my family that there was an emergency. I knew that they were nearby, so they made it there in minutes. So she approaches me, just looks at me, puts her head down and shakes her head. And she had just told me that my son was gone. And I fell to the ground and screamed.
Oh, one of the reasons that I think we're very fortunate to have you on our show, The Creative Life, is about people that draw upon their creative flow and often involves a problem. And this is the ultimate situation and the ultimate problem that no one ever wants to face. So I really appreciate, and I know our viewers will, I think a secondary purpose or a more important purpose of this show is to stir up the masses. So your story, I hope, is really hitting people that are watching this to realize that fentanyl is not something that someone else is going to take care of, a bigger body, but it's going to have to be taken care of if anyone does have an experience such as you had. It's going to have to be addressed in the family forever. And I think it is amazing that you were able to channel and still continue the tribute that you have to Noah by having for the Forever 15 project. So tell us about the project.
So I started the project in honor of Noah. I didn't start it just for Noah. I'm fighting for all of our children. There are tons of family that I've unfortunately um, ran into with similar situations. So I'm fighting for all of our children. Um, it's it's only been by God's grace. God's hand has been over me from
It's been over you and with you, and I'm sure Noah, it continues to be with you and is looking over you and your families. In addition to the project just being a testimony to the memories of not only Noah but other children too, the project seems to me that it has enabled you. I think one of the first times we talked, you were keynoting a criminology conference. Where does your strength come from to continue with these kinds of activities that you really do dedicate yourself to?
So like I said, God, every day. Um, I know where my son's heart was. I know where my son is. And that gives me hope and strength and just my love for, I've always had a heart for children. So if I could share my experience and my son's story to save one life, I'm going to be there and I'm going to do it.
I hope this show does do something along those lines. If we're able just to have to save one life or more, I think it will be a success and certainly well worth the effort put into the show and with the staff of Big Tech Hawaii. And you're working with parents. What warnings or messages do you have for parents when we talk to parents about cases of drug abuse? It's in the context usually of where someone has taken their life, or they've known what they might be doing, but they've been continuing to dabble in drugs and other situations. But at that point, parents are often in denial. It's usually not my child. No, my child would never do that. So that they're often quite in shock. Is that one of the messages, or do you see that in your work with parents? Perhaps after they hear your story, do they feel that it would never happen to them?
Yeah, I think before they've heard my story, they come in with that, that stigma, or, it won't happen to my child. My child's too smart. My child this, my child that. Well, my child was all those things too. Um, so yeah, never would I have thought I would be here doing this. Because my child was smart. My child was an athlete. My child was popular. Um, so yeah, it can be anything from, dealing with anxiety, depression, um, not being able to sleep, peer pressure, you know? It just takes that one person to say, here, try this, and you're put in a situation where you want to look cool or you don't want to say no. So, you know,
Yeah, I suppose as the youth, you think nothing will happen to me. Others have dabbled and nothing happens, and
yeah.
trusting in their friends. Uh, Fentanyl poisoning, as we've learned, is the number one cause of death in ages 18 to 45 in the United States. That in itself is a shocking statement. Um, Reportedly, and I say reportedly because I'm not sure exactly, I think you probably could correct me more accurately if some of these statistics are off. Reportedly, there have been 200,000 deaths in 2021 in the US mainland, and 6,000 in California, where I am alone last year. And you're in Texas. What are some of the stats or statistics that you're familiar with?
I know in our presentation that we take, we there's been about 100,000.
The numbers are
Yeah.
just, those numbers are just
Yes.
hard to absorb.
And then when we get 2022 numbers, I'm sure that 18 is going to lower down to 14. It's so sad.
Uh, the use of fentanyl deaths in Hawaii is dramatically increasing. Of course, when we talk about the numbers in the Hawaiian Islands, it seems so small because we're talking in thousands and hundreds of thousands in the mainland. But even if it's all relativity being there, the deaths in Hawaii dramatically increased from jumping from 10 in 2017 to 48 in 2021, which doesn't sound like much in comparison, but it's an increase in the islands of 380%. It's one death every 11 days on the Big Island. And we probably should clarify exactly what fentanyl is. And fentanyl, many people by now should know, but fentanyl is a lethal drug, 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine. And it's often mixed with other drugs to look like prescription drugs like Percocet, Vicodin. And sometimes for those adults, young professional adults, it's often mixed with other drugs, um, and sometimes cut into marijuana or cocaine. So we're seeing the loss upwards to the ages of 48 with those young adults, professionals, many of them very professional, just using recreational type activity and thinking very simply, or perhaps not recognizing that their marijuana or cocaine use might be laced, depending. Most of the deaths occur at home with bystanders not knowing what has happened. And then that raises the question, Janel, how does fentanyl get into the homes?
Well, we all know where it's coming from, you know, from our border. Um, I mean, for my family, it was a friend of Noah's who gave him what he thought was a Percocet.
Mhm.
Um, where he got it from, I don't know. Where the friend got it from, I'm not sure. Um, but it's definitely these drug dealers seeking out our youth, to sell for them. Um,
It's hard to comprehend or to identify truly what is behind. We know that in many of the cases, in the thousands, the cartel is behind it, and that the drugs make it across the Texas border, the California border to the U.S. And you think, what is to be gained by a minor sale? It's if they're looking for clients, why are they killing those that are in use? Uh, According to the DEA, fentanyl is cheap on the street, but then also can be delivered through the internet to your door for less
yes,
than $20. So, and in the case of the Hawaiian Islands, fentanyl is mostly reportedly, once again, it's reportedly coming to homes in Hawaii by UPS or post office, and then or from the mainland, West Coast cities by private air and other ways. The chemicals, of course, originating in China and then making it across to the labs in Mexico and working their way up. Such a tragic story. As we're talking today, Janelle, I know that there are hearings in Washington with mothers such as yourself testifying very sadly and very dramatically. So the hope is that at least our government is going, not knowing what could be done, but hopefully something would be worked on. Oh, we would be remiss if we didn't talk, and I did ask you if we could talk a little bit about Narcan, known as the formal name, I believe, is naloxone, and the common name is Narcan. And
that's
I
right.
reference that on your website on your Forever 15 project. So tell us your thoughts on Narcan.
I think Narcan is great. I think if you have teenagers in and out of your home, I think every home should be stocked with Narcan. And I say stocked because it's taking more than the 2 doses that come in a box to revive someone. And we're seeing 6 or more doses needing to be given. Even if, let's say your child's not doing anything, but has a friend over, you don't know what that friend is bringing to your home. So, yes, I do think that Narcan's a very good tool to have. It doesn't always work, but I think everyone should have it, access to it.
And I know that there is talk that it will become available over the counter. Do you know anything about the progress of those going on, or is
I
it?
don't. I was interviewed about it the other day, but yeah, I don't know what moving forward what's going to come of it. But I think it's a great idea for it to be over the counter, and affordable.
Uh, you had also told me a little story that you had the talk with Noah's sister. Can you share what you shared with me? Or
About
that you had the talk and that Noah was in the area and you turned to Noah and said, this is for you too.
Yeah, so we were just hanging out in our common area, the living room, and the TV was on. We weren't really paying attention to it. I was reading to my daughter, and Noah was in the kitchen making some food, and they were talking about rainbow fentanyl on the news. So I chimed in. I kind of listened. Um, and Jolene, my daughter, she was 4 at the time. I kind of explained to her, not to take anything from somebody that she doesn't know. If they say it's candy, even a friend, like don't take anything from even her closest friends, you know. I said, if mommy and daddy didn't give it to you, you don't take it. Don't pick anything up off the floor. And she's like, okay, mommy. Well, Noah looked around from the kitchen into the living room, and I said, that goes for you too, Noah. And he's like, oh, I know, I know. And that was literally 1 week before he passed.
Oh. So, Janelle, Project 15, Forever 15 rather, project. What is going on with it right now? And how can people help you with that?
Right now, my main focus is spreading awareness. Um, my heart is to get into schools and speak to the young children. I've been to schools, churches, HOAs, Rotary clubs, you name it. I've been there and I won't say no. I do work closely with the Hayes County Sheriff's Department. So I have a deputy that, you know, does facts, numbers, and then I come on and share Noah's story. Um, I have been reached out by people from all over the US, wanting me to bring my presentation to them. And like I said, I will never say no. So I will find a way to get there and do it. Um, so, I mean, if you feel led um, to donate so that I can make these presentations and spread awareness is my main goal right now. It's just getting the word out because a lot of people, even when I'm handing out flyers at my local grocery store, there are parents that ask me, what is fentanyl? And I'm just like, I'm shocked, you know? So getting the word out um, is my main goal right now. So get involved. We have, a volunteer section where, we'll send flyers to your state, your community, that you can hand out.
What states are most active in working with you?
I'm sorry.
States are most active in working with you?
So right now, I've gotten Kansas, Staten Island, Oregon, Louisiana. Yes, so far.
And when you say you need the support to do this for people, you travel and you have a full family, and you and your husband and your family travel hours for you to give a talk, don't you?
Yeah, we're actually right now in Texas City, and that's about 4 hours from my home.
Oh my. And your
Yeah.
son is with you, or you're on your own on this
I
one?
came I came alone for this one. It's just an overnight thing.
Mhm. And how old is, let's see, how old are your children now?
5, 2, and 6 months.
6 months. Oh, what a precious gift to have.
Yes.
6 months. Um, Janelle, I I just think that this is an amazing endeavor to, and a testimony certainly to the memory of Noah, but also on your website, I would encourage our viewers to not only go through your website, but stay with it a bit and really try to understand the depth of the commentary that you have on there, and the wonderful lives that these children faced. What were some of Noah's dreams for the future?
When Noah was younger, he wanted to become an engineer. So he always wanted to go to A&M or Oregon for their engineering program. But as he got older, his goal was to become an underwater welder. And so he was thinking about going into the Navy and pursuing it that way. Yes.
How would you felt about him being underwater? Oh my.
Yeah, I think he chose that because I always told him, I'm going to follow you wherever college you go to, I'm going to be there. So, so you can't follow me underwater.
Underwater. Very, very Seems like you all had a great sense of humor going there and probably
Yeah.
so with your family. So Janelle, am just so grateful and on behalf of our viewers as well, I thank you for taking the time, and I certainly commend you for your strength and hope that we stay in touch in some way so that we can continue to follow your project.
Of
And
course.
thank you so much, and
Yes.
and enjoy your 4 hour drive home to see your family as much as you can. A lot of time there for deep thought too while you're taking so safe travels.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Again, Janelle, thank you. To our viewers, you have been watching The Creative Life on Think Tech Hawaii with our guest Janel Rodriquez. We have been discussing the family tragedy of fentanyl death and the consequential parent founding of the Forever 15 Project. Join us in 2 weeks for another episode of The Creative Life. And until then, aloha.
Thank you so much for watching Think Tech Hawaii. If you like what we do, please like us and click the subscribe button on YouTube and the follow button on Vimeo. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and donate to us at thinktechhawaii.com. Mahalo.